just ask you for my nation in Jesus' name. I ask not for riches, I ask not for fame, I just ask you for my nation in Jesus' name. I ask for America, I call her by name, I present her to the Father.
And we will make America great again. Thank you, Arizona. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Don't you ever be sad. Lean on me in times of bad. When the day comes and you're down, and I'm in a trouble, and I'm about to drown, just hold on. I'm coming. Hold on. I'm coming. I'm on my way. Your brother. If you get cold, yeah, I will be your cover. Don't have to worry, 'cause I'm here. Don't need to suffer, baby, 'cause I'm here. Just hold on. I'm coming. Hold on. I'm coming. Hold on. I'm coming. Hold on. I'm coming. Look at it. Reach out to me for satisfaction, yeah. Look at here, Dave. That's all she got to do. Call my name, yeah. For reaction, yeah, 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 Now don't you ever be sad. Lean on me when the times are bad. When the day comes and you're down, baby, the river troubles and I'm about to drown. Just hold on, I'm coming. Hold on, I'm coming. Hold on, don't you worry, I'm coming. Here we come.
In the far distant land of common sense, a place where we all once lived, you'll find the Conservative College with Professor Toto. It is here where the foundational principles of our great republic are still taught and true patriots are still educated in the hallowed halls of this school of hope. Just like the iconic puppy from The Wizard of Oz, who found great joy in pulling back the curtain on the lies of the wizard, so does Professor Toto. Grab your seats and welcome to the Conservative College. Class begins now.
Hello?
Wake up, world. Wake up, America. That is the bell of freedom. It's still ringing 300 years later. It is still ringing. Tonight, it's going to ring for you. Welcome to class. It's Thursday night. We do this every Tuesday and Thursday night. Going on 4 years now. You and I have been hanging out together, learning about our great republic, defending the Constitution, calling you to the battle of the fight of faith for this great nation. It's 8 o'clock on the beautiful Gulf Coast of Mississippi, and you and I have a date tonight. I'm your humble neighborhood friendly professor, Professor Toto, and it is always my delight and my joy to be back in your homes, your world, wherever we are tonight. I hope you're doing well. I hope that your faith is strong and that you're ready to learn tonight. I've got a lot to teach you, so we're not going to have a lot of fluff. We're going to get straight into the good stuff tonight. Before I do, a quick reminder. I will be in Michigan this weekend, all weekend. They're in the Detroit area. We will be going to the fundraising dinner for President Trump. That will be on Saturday night, I believe. And then, so if you're in the area and you're going to be at the fundraiser, make sure you come by and meet me. I will not be speaking. I'm not that good yet. I don't get invited to that type of event to speak, but you never know. I'm going because I believe it's my duty here at the finish line to help our president get over the finish line. We have stood with him from day one, never wavering, and we will continue this fight until Inauguration Day. Also, real quickly, thank you, Elder Baker. That's a very kind thing to say. Thank you so much. Oh, I'm sorry. Linda Andrea said it's on Sunday, not Saturday. It is on Sunday. Thank you for reminding me, Elder Linda Andreas. What would I do without my roving secretaries that keep me straight? I love it. Real quickly, 2 quick announcements. I will be celebrating America at 2 locations during the July 4th time frame. Listen closely. July the 1st, right here in Toto Town at Remnant Ranch, 4 o'clock in the evening, we're going to start a grand evening of celebration of America. Everyone, please wear patriotic attire. We're going to have food everywhere. We're going to have singing. We're going to have fireworks, bonfires, fishing tournaments, canoe races, tug of war. We're going to have horse and buggy rides for all of you couples to have a little romantic ride around the ranch. Then we also have we just bought for the ranch today our own choo-choo train that will take your children around the ranch. We have water slides that the ranch owns. We have jumpy houses for your children. So make sure that you come, and we're going to have a marvelous time. Professor Toto will be there, and I will be giving a speech about America. And so please make sure you come. That's in Gulfport, Mississippi, at the Remnant Ranch, our very own home here on the Gulf Coast. July the 2nd, I will be in Troy, Illinois. You do not want to miss it. I will be speaking, I think maybe around 6 o'clock that evening or shortly thereafter. And so please come see me in Troy, Illinois. I want to meet you in Troy, Illinois. Come and meet us. We're going to have a marvelous time. Now, here at the ranch, we're going to have apple pie, homemade ice cream. Oh, my. It's going to be wonderful. And I know the event in Illinois is going to be phenomenal. So we will see you there. Let's celebrate America. It is that time of year. If they could celebrate Pride and in June, then we can celebrate America in July. Now, on July the 4th, I will be in Idaho at the largest fireworks display west of the Rocky Mountains in beautiful Idaho. So, my Lord, I'm ready to do the whole America thing. I'm so excited. It is that time of the year. So, please, please, please make sure you join us. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Linda Andreas says that Abraham Lincoln and Uncle Sam will be at her event there in Illinois. Someone said they've never heard of Troy, Illinois, Sister Linda. So maybe you can chat with them right there. Let them know where that's going to be. Well, we have some news that I want to share with you this evening. Now, tonight, I'm going to spend this podcast alleviating all of your concerns. I know you don't have fear, but many of you have concerns. I'm going to help you with those concerns tonight. Many of you are shocked that the trial of President Trump has been scheduled on what's called a rocket docket. Super fast, unusually fast, and you want to know what that means. Next, you want to know, does he have a chance to win in court? So tonight, when I get to the monologue, I plan to take apart the Espionage Act and the Presidential Records Act so that you've got your knowledge right. When you are looking forward, you will know what to expect. Before we do that, I really want to show you a news article that just came out. There it is right there. I want to show it to you. And the reason I'm showing it to you, I want to help. I know I have people that watch this podcast that, doesn't truly believe that there was negligence in the election, in 2020. I get that. I respect your opinion. I want to break down for you why we will not let go of that. A lot of people say, you know what? Y'all just need to let go of that. It's over. It's done. We need to move forward. You never move forward by ignoring wrong. It's called repentance. You can't just do wrong and then decide today you're going to do right. You have to deal with what you did wrong. Let's say that you and I broke the law and we went to court. Maybe we robbed the drugstore, okay? And we go to court and we get before his honor, and we say, Your Honor, I know that the law says that if I rob the drugstore, I really need to go and do 6 years in jail. But Your Honor, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to promise you right now that I'm never going to rob another drugstore. And let's just forget about that little 6 years, because starting today, I'm going to do the right thing. Ladies and gentlemen, we cannot live in the rearview mirror. I get that. But you do have to look in that rearview mirror on occasion to remember what's behind you. Now, the reason I'm saying this, I'm about to show you a news article that vindicates what Professor Toto has taught you for years. I've always told you what happened in 2020. What happened was mail-in ballots. I've always told you that was the problem. But it's not because I'm smart. President Trump said, if I lose the election, it will be because of irregularities in the mail-in ballots. Well, tonight we have a news article that confirms what we have been saying for a long time. And I'm going to read just a few snippets of that article for you so that you can see what I'm talking about. The article comes to us from Ann Arbor, Michigan. Man, Michigan, it's always Michigan. What is up with Michigan? Anyway, there's a report that just came out from Ann Arbor that shows election officials purportedly violated state law during the 2022 midterm elections. Now, Ann Arbor comprises election integrity during the 2022 election. The report issued by MFE, Michigan Fair Elections, and PIME alleges numerous violations of state election law by county officials regarding issues such as what? Voter registration and discriminatory practices. Among the notable issues raised in the analysis is Ann Arbor officials' purported acceptance of tardy ballots and registering of voters past the deadline. Michigan law stipulates, and I quote, a person may apply in person at the clerk's office before 8 p.m. on election day to vote as an absentee voter. Time-stamped voter history records reviewed show more than 600 people in that county that were college students that were registered to vote absentee after the deadline. Now, I'm not going to read the whole article. Let me stop there. I want to point out to you what our problem has been from the beginning. You cannot change the rules in the middle of the game. That has been my message for 3 years. We are not upset over anything. I cannot prove a lot of things, but I can prove this. The rules say this, and you allow this. It's an illegal election. If you break the rules, if you allow for them what you do not allow for me, or if you violate, the problem we have in today's world is we're living in the age where we're crossing over into that age of Aquarius. That's a water, that's a fluid. The whole world is falling under the spirit of fluidity, where there's no boundaries, there's no gender, there's no, it's all everybody just swim in the holy water and let there be no boundaries, no banks, no rules, no limitations, no legislation. No order in the House of Representatives, no dignity in the Senate. Let's just be water babies. Amen. Let's just breathe bubbles and just live in the land of Oz, where everything is just however you want it to be. Ladies and gentlemen, when you violate the law, you have invalidated the election. Now, the obstacle is this. You have to be able to get in a court of law to prove it, and that has always been our problem. But this is verifiable proof that in the election, by allowing these people to absentee vote and not meet the deadlines, you violated the election. You have invalidated the election because it is fraudulent. And remember, fraud vitiates everything. So this is why we must become totally involved in knowing the rules, the laws, so that we have valid elections. We need those valid elections. And speaking of the land of Oz, it's time to go there tonight. Professor Toto will meet you on the other side of the yellow brick road, and I'll show you what's over there.
What's happening?
What's happening, Joe, is we're now in the land of Oz where you and your people live. And over here, we've got to show you the way they think, okay? So here's one of the lies that's being told as to why Joe Biden will not be doing debates against RFK, okay? Now, for those of you that don't know who RFK is, Robert Kennedy, he's running for president. I know you've not heard about it because he has been silenced. But what's ironic is he is polling in the polls roughly where Ron DeSantis is, okay? Get the picture now. You've got RFK, you've got DeSantis, you've got Trump, you've got Biden. Now, according to the mainstream media, I'm fixing to play it for you so you can hear it with your own ears. According to them, the reason that Joe Biden is not going to do a debate with RFK is he doesn't have any real opponent.
With the base, maybe save money until you actually get a serious challenger because you don't have one in the primary.
Well, you know, Joe Biden has the great luxury of not having a credible primary opponent.
So in the land of Oz, Joe Biden has no opponent that is polling around the same numbers as DeSantis. But in the land of Oz, Trump is in jeopardy of losing to DeSantis, but Biden has no real opponent. I just want you to think about that for a minute. Where's RFK? Where is RFK? Why have they put the squash on RFK? He's not a real opponent. But be careful, Trump's about to go down. Here comes a real opponent. And see, we're in the land of Oz, everybody. Wake up. In case you forgot where we were right now, we just crossed the yellow brick road. We just went across the yellow brick road. That's where we are, in a land where Biden has no legitimate opponent. Trump is about to fall because of his legitimate opponent. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm trying to show you the hypocrisy of the left. I'm trying to show you what you must see through and always know that they are lying to you about everything. They want you to be dumb, but luckily you've got Professor Toto. You're going to be all right. You've got the conservative college that you can hide away in and learn the truth. So it's really, you're going to be all right, okay? I promise you, but that's why you must never allow these people to think for you. Because this very thought, DeSantis is right now where RFK is, but he is coming up on Trump's tail. Hogwash. Folks, these people here in the land of Oz were the very first people that ever mentioned a rigged election. Okay? Remember, the people I'm talking about, they introduced the concept of an illegitimate presidency. It was Hillary Clinton that told us that Trump was not a legitimate president because of the Russia influence on his campaign, which even they have to now admit has been totally debunked. But over here in the land of Oz, listen today at this congressman.
In addition, I do support legislation that requires disclosure on ads and social media and so on. So next time, for example, if you see a pro-Trump ad, it might just say at the bottom, paid for by the Kremlin.
Paid for by the Kremlin, did you say? I thought we were past that. Are you still saying that Trump was not legitimately elected all these years later? But I'm sorry, we're not allowed to say that about your guy. You're saying the Kremlin put Trump into office. Still, in the land of Oz, they still believe that Trump was placed there by the Kremlin. But we are conspiracy theorists if we believe the same thing about their guy. Ladies and gentlemen, everything they tell you is nothing less than a lie. Everything they tell you is a lie. Now, I want to show you what's up their sleeve. I want to show you what they're going to pull out before this is over with. That way you are well prepared. I want you to listen where the conversation is headed to. And right before I play this little clip, I want you to listen closely, because I told you so. Oh, I told you so. Listen carefully.
As the 2024 presidential field continues to take shape, as we mentioned at the top of the show, some are talking once again about a third-party nomination process, third-party candidates. Well, earlier this week, I spoke with former Republican Maryland Governor Larry Hogan about many aspects of the 2024 race. And during our conversation in Annapolis, Maryland, I asked Hogan if he would seek the nomination of the no-labels third-party ticket.
There's been an awful lot of people kind of attacking that effort, but you just don't know. Right now, there are about 70% of the people in America do not want Joe Biden or Donald Trump to be president. They don't want a rematch of 2020, and yet that appears, if the nominations were taking place today, that would be the case. And so if 2/3 of the people in the country really don't want either one of choice A or choice B, then I don't think you can close the door to C, which would be a unity ticket, put up someone else. And it's never happened before. It's never been successful. It's not something I'm pursuing, but it's you've got to leave the door open in case of emergency, break glass.
Would you be at the top of that ticket?
I mean, I think there are certainly a lot of people that would feel that I'd be a potential person.
How do you feel about it?
I think it's a long way off, and my efforts right now are trying to stop Donald Trump from being the Republican nominee, and I'm hoping that one of my friends will be able to beat him, and then I can get behind them.
As you look at the Republican field, Governor, evaluate Ron DeSantis so far.
I think DeSantis has really underperformed. You know, he started out, and we've seen this happen before in other races, but he was the one getting all the attention. He was wall-to-wall coverage on Fox News. He was the only one other than Trump that was really getting a lot of attention. He raised a ton of money. He was a fairly successful governor in a big state who got reelected, and then he started, making all kinds of mistakes. I think the campaign is one of the worst I've seen so far, and he's dropped like a rock. And so I think people started to say, well, maybe we're willing to consider someone other than Trump. They took a look at Ron DeSantis and then went back to Trump. So I think he dropped 18, 20 points in the polls, and now you're seeing other people rise up. And there were a whole bunch of people stuck in single digits. I was one of them. We were all statistically, within the margin of error of each other. There were 7 or 8 different people. One of them, I think, has a chance to surpass Ron DeSantis.
Is it over for DeSantis?
I think it's getting close to being over.
So Boss Hogg right there was telling y'all what Professor Toto has been telling you for a long time. There is a third-party candidate that they've been grooming for quite a while. I told you her name years ago. There is talk of a third-party candidate. Her name is Liz Cheney. The conversation, the Democrats do not want Biden back, and the rhinos don't want Trump. You're going to see a marriage of these two. You're going to see them coalesce around a third-party candidate. Now, I know many of you are thinking that will never work. It never has. I agree. But maybe you don't know about another meeting that happened among the far left liberals for them to put forth their own candidate. They just had a huge meeting with AOC and all of them about another party. So now you get 4 in there, and here's what you'll have. The far right, that's us. The far left, that's them. And then this coalition in the middle. It's going to be interesting. Liz Cheney, don't ever take your eyes off of Liz. The reason she's a threat is because both the rhinos and the middle of the road Democrats like her. She stood up against Trump. Do not underestimate Liz Cheney. Keep your eye on Liz Cheney. I've told you that from the beginning. And I truly believe that that's going to happen. However, she'll never defeat Donald Trump. We know Donald Trump's coming back into office. And tonight, I'm going to teach you in about 3 minutes from now why Donald Trump will win in a court of law. Before I do that, I need all of your attention. Thousands of you that are watching right now. I have a huge announcement that I am so, what does these young people call bust about? I'm excited, but they use a new word, bust. Is it bust? Anyway, I don't know, but I'm so jazzed. How about that? I'm so excited. Listen carefully. You're right, Margaret Hernandez. She has her daddy. She has the Bushes. She has everybody on both sides. Trust me, bussing. Thank you, Adam. I'm just bussing over it. Hello, Brother Dale. So listen, many of you, thousands of you, have now began to transfer your fake money over to God's money.info. You're getting gold and silver. However, many of you had a million questions, and the main question always was, how do I access my money if I put it in gold and silver? How do I buy gas with gold? How do I buy bread with silver? How do I live if I need that money? Ladies and gentlemen, I am so thrilled to announce to you tonight, those of you that are with us already with gold and silver, you can log into your back office now and order your gold card. It is like a debit card. You swipe it just like you do your debit card, and now you're buying gas with gold. I love that. Isn't that amazing? Gas with gold. It has arrived. It's state of the art. No one has ever done this in history, to where you can now transfer your fake dollars, put them into gold so that you can protect it from inflation, and then swipe your card off your gold, and that puts you right back on the gold standard today. Bam! I'm so excited. We did it. It's done. Nobody's ever done it. No, nobody except us. So thank you all. For those of you that are already members, log into your back office, get your free card, and now buy your gas with gold. Hallelujah. And if you have not joined this movement, go right now, godsmoney.info. Do it now. Book an appointment with us. We will walk you through the process. If you're watching and you say, I don't know how to order my card, book an appointment at godsmoney.info. We'll get you on the phone. We will walk you through it. Now, I want to show you tonight, right now, godsmoney.info. 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 Do it now. Go. Get those cards and buy your gas with gold. I love it. I want some more of it. Oh, man. So anyway, here's what happened. Are you ready? Here is what happened with Hunter Biden. You need to understand what really happened. Okay? Hunter Biden, after 5 years of us being told that was not his laptop, we were told that. We were told it was Russian disinformation. Does anybody remember that we were told that? For years, we were conspiracy theorists. We were liars. That was not his laptop. That was a setup by the Russian government. Well, I'm happy to tell you tonight, once again, we were right. They were wrong. Hunter Biden admits that the infamous laptop is his as he pleads guilty for a criminal probe. Now, I want you to notice what they've tried to do with this probe. I'm going to come back and explain to you how Hunter got by with this with a Trump-appointed prosecutor. Now, before I show you that, I want to remind you of the man that always gets it right. He told us without a shadow of a doubt, he told us without one shadow of a doubt, this was his prediction months ago, or a month ago anyway. He said to you and I, they will convict Hunter Biden. They will convict him. But it will be something very small just to make it look fair. And ladies and gentlemen, that is exactly what happened. Exactly as Donald Trump predicted it would happen is exactly how it happened. Do you understand me? He was right again. They did. They got him. And they want you to know they got him with a Trump-appointed prosecutor. It's imperative that you not forget that. Except Professor Toto is about to pull back the curtain on that big lie and show you the truth about this prosecutor. Listen carefully and listen to how they must frame this in your mind so you will not question these things. Listen carefully at the mind control that they use to convince you that everything was fair and it's time for you to shut up and believe that it was all fair.
Some breaking news. The Trump-appointed U.S. Attorney for Delaware has reached a plea agreement with Hunter Biden.
Well, that show has just been exposed by Trump's own prosecutor.
After 5 years of investigation, Diane, it appears that the Trump-appointed U.S. Attorney in Delaware, David Weiss, has not found any criminal liability with Hunter Biden's activities in China.
Trump appointed, Trump appointed, Trump appointed, Trump appointed, Trump appointed, Trump appointed, Trump appointed. Get the message. It's fair. Everything's fair. Now give it up. Trump appointed, except it's all a bunch of malarkey. Okay. Let me show you the Trump appointed prosecutor. Just looking at him ought to tell you something ain't right. But anyway, there he is. Okay. The problem with this fella, before I go any further, let me tell you a shocking statement. Everybody's like, how did this not get investigated in the prosecution? Well, it's real simple. Christopher Clark, the lead attorney for Hunter Biden, said Tuesday that he was never even asked about the laptop. This is the lead attorney for Hunter Biden said nobody ever even asked the defense anything about a laptop. He's the lead attorney as part of a criminal investigation. And I quote, I can't recall ever being asked about a laptop, to be honest with you. Now, the question is, why is the lead attorney for the defendant never been asked about a laptop? I'll tell you why. Because of Chipmunk right there. Okay? Because of Brother Chipmunk. He lives in the land of Oz too. Let me tell you about this fella right here. All right. This fella's name is Weiss, W-E-I-S-S. And yes, he is a Republican. And yes, he was appointed by Donald Trump. But here's the part of the story nobody told you. Guess who recommended Chipmunk to the president? Well, of course, Bill Barr. And guess who recommended Chipmunk to Bill Barr? The two Democratic senators from Delaware. That's right. Who would you like to prosecute Hunter Biden? We asked the Democratic senators. They recommend Charlie Chipmunk because he's the man that'll get the job done. Yeah. As a matter of fact, one longtime pillar of the Delaware defense bar, Dan Lyons, recounted his sense of relief when he heard that Charlie Chipmunk was in charge of the Hunter Biden probe. I remember thinking, now that's a straight shooter. He's the perfect one to have it. Did y'all know that the Republicans begged Bill Barr for a special prosecutor? And Bill Barr said, that's unnecessary. Let's get Charlie Chipmunk. And so that's what happens whenever the goose plays in the gander. So please don't buy the lie. Trump appointed. Yes, technically you're correct. But theoretically and practically, you're a million miles off the mark. It was a Barr appointed prosecutor. Should have been a special prosecutor. All right, folks. It's time to dig in tonight. You're going to want to take notes because I've come to teach you why Donald Trump will win in a court of law. Now, let me, of course, give you a disclaimer. In a normal court of law, where evidence matters, then he will win. Thank God that's in Florida. I want to talk to you about the war that they have fought against Donald Trump. The truth is, this is not a prosecution against Donald Trump. They want you to think that it is. But you know as well as I do, because Trump has told you, it's you that they're after. What does he mean by that statement? What does he mean when he says, I'm just in their way? It's not me. It's you that they're after. I want to explain it to you like this. Every society of people has a head of state. All right? The president is our head of state. The King of England is their head of state. All right? Everything is represented in the head. The body is represented in the head. After all, when you meet a human being, you don't talk to their hand, you talk to their head. However, the head is operating the hands. It's all working together. But there is a head, and all the people are represented in the head. That is why Jesus Christ, or Yeshua, is the head of the church. Because as the head of the church, he is the representation of all of those of us that make up his body. That's why he's called the head of the body. That's why Satan, in knowing that he couldn't get all of us, went for the what? Come on now, class. Satan went for the head, which was Jesus or Yeshua. Destroy the head and you destroy the body. That is the truth of the matter. But what has happened with the prosecution of Donald Trump is they have in fact prosecuted half of America. That's right. The largest voter turnout, 80 million of us, are represented in the head, Donald Trump. Okay? When you attack the head, you have attacked the people contained within that head. Donald Trump speaks what you and I are speaking out here on my podcast tonight. He is the voice in the national setting of the voice in the local setting. Okay? What you and I discuss around the dinner table, he says in the bully pulpit. He says it in the MAGA megaphone. He speaks for the body. He loves what we love. We love America. He loves America. We love our borders. He loves our borders. Therefore, we allow him to represent our principles, our voice, and our vision for what America is. He defends what we defend. We defend the walls around our home. He defends the walls around our home, our nation. So therefore, Donald Trump is the head of half of America. In America, there are two heads right now. One is Donald Trump. One is Joe Biden. Therefore, they did not arraign Donald Trump. They arraigned half of America. They did not arrest a man. They arrested a movement. They vilified this movement. They condemned this movement. And that's why you and I we must understand why we feel so offended that a man was arrested. It is not because we worship the man. It's not because we're even that concerned about the man himself. We are concerned about the 80 million voices contained within that man. Now, if you listen to legal experts, Donald Trump is done for. They say that the Justice Department's case against him is strong. Many on the right agree with them. That's right. Former Vice President Mike Pence says this indictment contains serious charges. Okay? And then Bill Barr says the president is toast. But to others like us, this sounds awfully familiar to that 2020 letter signed by 51 U.S. spies claiming that Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian disinformation. Excuse me, pardon me, you will have to forgive us, Justice Department, if we have an issue recognizing your legitimacy when your spies lied to us. Do you expect us to forget that letter where your brightest and your best told us little people how wrong we were and that there was no Hunter Biden laptop? Tonight you have been proven to be foolish, for lack of a better word. But yet we are to support the Department of Justice. We are to believe that Donald Trump was arraigned without prejudice, irrespective of who he was. Wash. We was born one morning, but it was not this morning. See, they want you to believe in their religion. That's right. They have a religion, and part of their faith that they want you to believe, they want to convert you to their cult. In their cult, the law is impartial, as it should be. The justice system is in the hands of serious men and women who have devoted their lives to law enforcement, like Peter Schrock and his little girlfriend. Yeah, anyway. Oh no, serious men and women that have devoted their lives to law enforcement who, even when it looks most hopeless over the last 7 years, never once veered from their mission, and now they finally got their man. That is a religious mantra, and I'm sorry, but I'm happy with my own church, okay? I got my own religion. I got it, all right? I'm not converting today. It's their fault. We used to believe in them. Did you hear me? I remember all my life, we never questioned the Department of Justice. After all, they were fighting for justice, weren't they? Or were they ever? Were they fighting for justice at Waco? when little lesbian Janet Butch Reno was they fighting for justice when they murdered in cold blood and burned alive precious little angel girls? Bunch of devils. Were they fighting for justice at Ruby Ridge? Were they fighting for justice when they created their fake dossier? And now you want me to believe in your religious proclamation that Trump was arrested without fear or favor? Sounds like a tent revival to me. Y'all just not as good as David Terrell and those guys. They can out-preach y'all, but you got the same passion. You want me to believe in your lie. It's all an act. Here's the fact. That's an act. Here's the fact. The never-ending campaign to get Trump is evidence that our country has gone mad. I want to explain something to you, okay? I want to explain something to you, and I want you to truly get what I'm about to tell you. I'm going to prove to you tonight from the Espionage Act and the Presidential Records Act why Trump will win in a fair court of law. It's one word. It's a Latin word. Mens rea. M-E-N-S-R-E-A. Mens rea. It's a legal term, okay? Let me tell you what mens rea means. The intention, notice that word intention, intent. The intention or knowledge of wrongdoing. I want you to highlight what I just told you. Mens rea is the intention or the knowledge of wrongdoing that constitutes part of a crime, as opposed to the action or conduct of the accused. Let me break that down to you. Mens rea is a legal term that stands up in a court of law. It says, I ran out and caused a wreck and killed a man. Yes, I did that. But I didn't intend to do that. I was trying to save a baby in a stroller that had rolled out in front of the car. That's mens rea. There was no intent or knowledge of breaking that law. A mistaken belief in consent meant that the defendant lacked mens rea. So in other words, this, what I just quoted you, was from I just read that from a rape case, okay? A man was accused of rape. The judge says that because he believed there was consent, the prosecution failed to prove mens rea or knowledge of that crime. All right? That's why we don't send mentally ill people to the death chamber. They didn't have mens rea. This term, mens rea, will be pivotal in the Trump trial. By the way, it will never start in August unless I'm just completely wrong about that. But there will be so many motions filed, it will be pushed ahead. However, I'm wondering if Trump doesn't want it to start that quick so that he can get a not guilty verdict real quick and then totally ramshod this election. Remember that intent is 9/10 of the law. Intent. Proving a defendant's intent or knowledge, though, is very tough to do. It's going to be 1,000 times tougher for Donald Trump. And here's why. Remember mens rea. Remember, in a court of law, you don't just prove a crime. You've got to prove intent to commit that crime. And in the Donald Trump trial, Here's the mountain that prosecutor's going to have to climb, proving that Donald Trump intended to violate the Espionage Act. What's going to make it so difficult to do that? Something called the Presidential Records Act. So if you're writing notes, on the left side, put Espionage Act. Over here, put Presidential Records Act. I'm about to read those two acts to you and show you why Donald Trump will win in a court of law. All right. Let's talk about the Presidential Records Act. Before I do that, let me explain something. The president's authority to retain personal records, as well as his right to access his presidential records, make it impossible to prosecute him under the Espionage Act, Section 793E. Here's why. Professor Toto, why will it be so hard to prove? Because in the Espionage Act, the government must prove two words that I'm fixing to teach you. The government has to prove beyond the what? Beyond a reasonable doubt that Donald Trump had unauthorized possession. That's where this case is going to fall. The government must prove that Donald Trump knew he had unauthorized possession. Why? Because that's what the statute that he's being charged under demands. Let's read that statute, Section 793E of the Espionage Act. It requires the government to prove that the defendant knew he had national defense information, not classified. I'm fixing to teach you all this mumbo about classified doesn't even matter in the Espionage Act. The Espionage Act does not prosecute you for having classified or even top secret information. You must have unauthorized possession of national defense information, NDI, if you want to make those initials, NDI. He had to have known, I'm reading the section, that there was a government official entitled to receive the information and then willfully failed to deliver it to that official. Ladies and gentlemen, I just read to you the act that they charged your president under. It will be impossible for them to mount this mountain. Here's why. Notice carefully. This is not about classified information. See, here's the deal. They tried to pull a slick one and get around the whole declassification argument he's going to make. Now they want to say we could care less about all that. You had in your possession NDI, National Defense Information, and you were unauthorized to possess them. All right. This is the bar they've got to jump. Proving his intent and his knowledge that he had this will be impossible because of the Presidential Records Act. All right, I just read to you the Espionage Act. Now let's go over and let's look at Section 44, U.S. Code 2203B of the Presidential Records Act. And I quote, "This is a system where the president designates all records that he creates, either as presidential or personal." Who makes that designation? The president. This isn't the presidential record. As he goes through his things, he says that's presidential, but this is personal. He makes that determination. And then once he makes that determination, he is supposed to turn over to NARA the presidential records, and he keeps the personal records. Ladies and gentlemen, based on what I have read and what I have heard from Donald Trump's own mouth, Trump understood these boxes as his personal records under the Presidential Records Act. Now, Mr. Prosecutor, you've got to prove that he didn't believe that about these documents. Because according to the Espionage Act, he had to have had unauthorized possession of national defense information. He has made the statements in the indictment when he was responding to the indictment that supports the view that his intent and his knowledge was not to harm the United States. If Donald Trump considered the contents of these boxes to be of purely personal interest. Now, that's a broad word, personal. I'm fixing to tell you what that means so that I need you to understand what Donald Trump is dealing with so that you won't have any fear. He's going to win in a court of law. Here's the question. Did Donald Trump knowingly retain not classified documents, but NDI, National Defense Information? Did he really think these documents, like a year-old briefing note and a random map jumbled together with his letters, his news clippings, his scribbled notes, his random miscellaneous items, did he believe that these could be used to the injury of the United States? Prove it, prosecutor. That's where the case will fall apart. Yes, you can prove he had NDI. Now you must prove that he did not believe, according to the Presidential Records Act, that he had a right to them. Now prove that, sir, because that's where your case is going to fall apart. Did he think this would be injurious to the United States? Now, if he took those with a clandestine plan to sell that information, put him in prison. But if he did not take it to do injury to the United States, your whole case falls apart. Or did he just think of these as mementos of his time in office? His personal records of the 4 years, like a journal or a diary. If he thought, listen to me carefully, somebody say, if he thought, if he believed from the Presidential Records Act that these were his personal records, then he simply believed that NARA had no right to them according to the PRA. He simply believed that they did not have a legal right to demand them. They were his personal records. He did not willfully withhold anything. Now remember what the Espionage Act says. He must willfully withhold it from an official that he knew had the right to receive them. That statement alone alleviates Trump from guilt because he did not know that there was a government official that had the right to receive them. That was his argument the whole time. Take me to court. Let's debate it in court. You don't have the right. These are mine. They're not criminal. Let me give you an example. Oh, I'm out of time. I hadn't even got started. Oh, Lord. Okay. Let me give you a quick example. Let's say I'm the pastor of a church, which I am. All right. They vote me in as pastor, And during my time there, I'm in my office, right? And I'm scribbling notes down. You know, I'm getting information. I'm talking to people. I'm writing down what they're telling me. But I don't have any paper, so I reach over and grab a church stationery or a tithing envelope to just write down on it, okay? And it's time for me to resign. Maybe there was secret information given to me as a pastor, and I scribbled it down on church letterhead. And now I'm getting ready to go to another church, and I'm going through my records, and I say, okay, this is personal. That belongs to the church. This is mine. Oh, no, that's not yours. You wrote that on church letterhead, sir. Yeah, I did. It's mine. Thank you. Get out of my office. Oh, no, you wrote that on that counseling session. You scribbled your notes on a tithing envelope. That's not yours. That belongs to the church. Get out of my office. That's mine. That's what Donald Trump's done. Matter of fact, I could close the class right there. I just explained to you what Donald Trump did. He never believed there was another government official authorized to demand his personal records from him. Now, let me tell you something about personal records. Many of those records may very well be records that he knew he would need one day personally to defend himself in a court of law against the swamp. If he personally needed them for his own personal defense, that is his personal records. If he had records that proved what the FBI did to him, that affects him personally. But now they get together and talk about classification. Just because it's classified does not make it NDI, National Defense Information. More than anything else, when Donald Trump goes to court, the entire case is going to hinge on the ability of the special counsel to prove beyond a reasonable doubt Trump's state of mind. That he knew and he was willfully keeping those to do injury to the United States of America. Ladies and gentlemen, I have so much more, and I have not even started tonight. I ran out of time. There's so much more that I want to teach you about this great case. Wow, my Lord, time is out. Isn't that something? Wow, and there's so much more that needs to be discussed about this. I want to really break down that Espionage Act even more. But I'll tell you something I want to talk about. Let me do this before I go. Would you give me 5 more minutes? I want to talk to you about Jack Smith, the special prosecutor. Would you like some information about him? All right. I do apologize. I've gone past my time. Okay. Why Jack Smith? If you could pick any lawyer in a country to handle a controversial case against the former president, a case involving an aggressive, unprecedented use of the Espionage Act, a controversial law in and of itself, what lawyer would you pick? You would probably want a consummate professional, right? You would want a career prosecutor with a stellar appeal rate. You know, his cases don't get overturned on appeal. You would want a solid attorney. You would want him to have no political profile at all. You'd want him to be that white knight in a shining armor who's never lost a case. Or you could pick Jack Smith. Jack Smith is known most infamously for one case, and it was the state of Virginia Governor Bob McDonnell. Many of you will not remember Bob McDonnell. Bob McDonnell's life was ruined. He was eviscerated by Jack Smith. Let me tell you about that case. Using a very aggressive interpretation of the scope of federal bribery and fraud statutes, Smith destroyed the career and the life of a popular Republican politician. But here's the deal about Jack Smith, folks. After he destroyed the man's life, the entire conviction was overturned by the Supreme Court in a unanimous opinion. Everybody on the court turned on Jack Smith. A unanimous Supreme Court smacked Smith down for being overzealous and having a legally defective prosecution of a Republican politician. And the opinion was so devastating that the Department of Justice did not even retry the case. They let it go. Jack Smith is who you choose. Yes, you only choose Jack Smith if it's a political persecution. If Merrick Garland was just trying to get Trump, then why was Jack Smith the pick? Because he is a political destroyer. That ought to give you hope tonight that this man that has been sent to destroy Donald Trump fails to remember that Trump has something on his side: the love of the people and the ability to run for president no matter what Jack Smith does to him. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope now you understand better the Espionage Act, the Presidential Records Act, and what they must prove in a court of law. I promise you, Donald Trump will win in a court of law. And it makes me wonder if it's not Donald Trump that has executed his right to a speedy trial. Remember, the state does not have a right to a speedy trial, and the defendant can give up his right to a speedy trial. It looks like maybe Trump didn't give up that right. And now you may know the rest of the story. Thank you for watching tonight. Bible study is this Saturday morning at 10 o'clock Central. You do not want to miss it. I start a brand new series this Saturday morning. Bam, there's the link. Join us 10 o'clock Central, and you will be blessed. You will be changed forever by the word of God. Thank you for joining. Good night, everybody. May Yahweh bless you and keep you is my prayer.
God bless America.